Sounds great.
Okay, so I understand on January 21st that you and Lori McKenna and Ron Sexsmith performed a benefit concert for your drummer, John Sands, who had a heart attack. How's he doing?
He is pretty good. I mean, he's been in the hospital for 4 months, and, it was a very severe heart attack. I mean, they did CPR for, almost 2 hours. And,
oh my gosh.
So they didn't think he would live, and then when he did live, they thought he would be brain dead, and they think his heart would be viable, but his heart started beating on its own, and
thank God.
He's conscious and he's cogent and he's himself, but he's just been suffering a series of complications because when you're out that long and your organs aren't getting oxygen, they start to fail in various ways. So
sure.
Back in the hospital, I think he's got pancreatitis, and so he's stable, but he's just, he's very weak, and it's I guess you sort of think like a heart attack, you die or you live, and then you live, and it's great, and it doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Well, the stress on your body has to be incredible.
Yeah. So, but he's hanging in there.
That's wonderful. Well, I'll continue to keep him in my thoughts. Now, I know you're going on tour this April to support your 2008 album, Bleeping Smilers. How would you say the songs have evolved over the past couple of years since you recorded them? Have they grown musically or developed deeper meaning for you in any way?
I think that it's more a musical thing, changes that happen depending on the musicians you're playing with, and this tour is in a kind of a semi-acoustic tour. I'm playing with two musicians, Paul Bryan, who's the bass player and producer on the record, and Jamie Edwards, who's the keyboard player. And so to come up with different arrangements, there's something about playing with just a couple of people where it's, I want to use the term musical, but that doesn't describe a lot. Like when you can really hear what other people are doing, and there's kind of a flow, like an almost, extrasensory, unspoken flow between the musicians. It's got a really nice thing to it that you don't get when you're have a full band and you're just the arrangements on the record.
Sure, it's more intimate.
Yeah. So it's very nice, like it kind of breathes new life into the songs.
I'm sure.
In that way.
Well, very cool. Okay, now Smilers, it's titled after a joke name you dubbed those kind of superficially happy people who are always grinning and pretending life is just all fine and dandy. And just, based on what I know about you, your persona, you seem to me to be like a realist. And, I think your lyrics reflect that. How do you see, I guess, because so much mainstream pop music is, it's really happy. And so how do you see your music, the purpose that you have artistically, or your mission in modern culture?
I think I can't sort of see it as something that has a purpose or a message or a mission. When you write a song, you just do it because it's fun or it's something that's on your mind, or usually it starts where I'm playing music and I come up with a melody and that just reminds me of a certain scenario, or it's kind of a feeling or an atmosphere, and I want to put words to it. So there isn't anything about, I can't even really think about other people hearing it, because as soon as you think about, what do I want to say to other people,
right?
How are other people going to react,
right?
Then then you kind of lose it. And also I think like any time where you go, I'm going to come up with a message and this is going to influence people, then you're trying to influence and control, and that never goes well either. like comes to you and they have a problem and you're like, well, here's what you ought to do.
Right, you become more of a therapist.
Then that never goes well. So I think you can only just say, well, in my experience, this is what I've done, or this is how I've felt, or this is what's happened.
Sure.
The song is kind of like that, in my experience, this is kind of how it's gone down.
Okay, so, well, like I said, I'm an independent artist myself, and I think, like you, I tend to write more melancholy and thoughtful songs, And I mean, I've had so many producers and A&R trying to tell me, oh, we need to write happy songs all in major keys, and, here, map out this Katy Perry song and make your songs fit this template. I mean, what's your response to that kind of, I guess you'd call it like a commercial music philosophy?
Well, it's like writing jingles. I mean, also, Katy Perry songs, who, by the way, some of those songs I think are fantastically constructed.
Oh, yeah.
And they have bits of melody that I actually liked, that, like that teenage, what is it called, Teenage Dream or something?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
The melody and the chord progressions, the harmony and that, so terrific that I actually was like, I gotta know who wrote that. It's like, and he writes with like Avril Lavigne and all those people.
Yeah.
And it's like, he's like, his melodic sense is fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
But he is like a professional pop hit maker.
Right.
That is a different kind of thing. It's like, that really is kind of jingle writing. I'm not saying it's bad art or not art or anything.
Right.
But I really like love his melodies, but he's also like a professional guy that other people get into, make those super pop moments happen.
Sure.
And so, like, I don't know, for people like us to sort of follow that template, it's just, I don't know, like, it's kind of like wearing somebody else's clothes. Like, it just doesn't, it doesn't make any sense. It's a totally different scenario.
Yeah.
Those people are a creation of a team of professionals. It's stylists and costume designers and choreographers, and, it just doesn't, it doesn't make sense. Like, it doesn't make sense if you're not even into that kind of music, then you're up the wrong tree.
Right. Okay, well, one of the things that, I think the way people really react to your music and the fact that it is more singer-songwriter, it's more creative, and just the fact that, Smilers hit number 32 on the Billboard Top 200 list. I think it's a tribute to the fact that people do crave, the real down-to-earth, genuine music that you write. So congratulations for that, by the way. But obviously, you've charted before, but that's still so exciting. So I'm wondering, how do you celebrate something like that? Do you all break out the champagne or?
You know what? I did not know that until you told me.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
oh,
I had no idea.
Oh, well, congratulations.
I'm really happy to hear that. But I think you're right. I think, of course there are people who want, art really serves a function for people. It makes them feel connected to their, not only their deeper feelings, but to other people. Yeah. And, and I think the Katy Perry thing is more in a class of entertainment and theater,
That's true, yeah.
And so it's kind of a different thing. But it just is, in record company terms, it's all about, like, how much money they think they can reap on an investment, and
sure.
They think they can get a bigger return on that kind of thing.
Well, then, while a pop song like, that might have a big bang right now, right here and right now, many traditional songs that have been passed down generation to generation, like, I don't know, think Scarborough Fair, Loch Lomond, and I think your music is of that caliber. Why do you think that is, that the more sad, maybe melancholy, thought-provoking songs stand the test of time?
Probably because they really strike a chord in people, and it's more real.
I agree with you there. Okay, well, on to the business side of music. What would you say, because you've been on both sides of the table, what are the benefits but also potential downsides and difficulties of being an independent artist?
Well, I honestly don't even know what the music business could conceively even be like now. What would it be like to be on a major label now? Yeah. I don't even know. I'm sort of assuming that major label is really reserved only for very, very commercial artists at this point. There's almost no point for anyone, artist and label, together to have that kind of relationship. If I was just starting out, I wouldn't even know what to do. It seems like it's a very difficult situation because you don't have a record company, which had some amount of force in marketing. I mean, it's sort of like everybody is kind of forced to, every artist now is forced to self-promote and spend an enormous amount of time on kind of self-promotion, internet promotion. It's just I think it's a very, very different thing. I mean, when I started out in Boston, there was a huge music scene in Boston, and, I could actually make a living playing clubs in the Boston area.
Right, and now that's unheard of.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't much of a living, but it paid the rent. And that's crazy. And
yeah.
Boston, it had its own music paper, and people were really into going out and seeing bands, and that's kind of how you got attention nationally, is kind of getting attention and within a scene.
Sure, creating the local buzz and everything.
I mean, I guess that still exists, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think it does, but now with the internet and everything, everything's changed.
It's really different.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and then, I think you mentioned this actually in one of your vlogs on your website and on YouTube, that CDs are not selling anymore, I mean, so where do you see independent artists, or really any artists, making money today? I mean, is it in licensing, or?
I guess. But those areas are paying less and less and less too, because there's so much music out there, and people are giving. Once you expect that music, you have an experience where music is for free.
Yeah.
And then you begin to expect that it should be for free.
Right.
And you demand it to be for free.
Right.
And so, I mean, people always assume you can make money on tour. I mean, you probably know this. It's good luck with that.
Right.
I never did more than break even. I went on tour. If I had a band with me, I could make a little bit of money if I'm on my own, but, it's not. Unless you're really a very large artist, that's not really possible.
Yeah.
And and then the next thing people say is like, well, just sell some T-shirts, as if your audience is suddenly going to start buying a bunch of T-shirts,
right? Because
you don't have any money.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. If they're not buying CDs, they're probably not going to buy T-shirts.
Yeah, it's like it really depends. Different. I think like rock or heavy metal fans are more sort of merchandise buying, or
sure,
pop acts are more merchandise buying.
Sure, that's true. It is really dependent on the genre, I think.
So yeah, it's crazy. I don't know how people make money.
Well, okay, so tell me about. I mean, obviously you're independent, but you are. I mean, you're very well known and very popular. So how do you manage your business? I mean, is it like just you outsource management and booking and all that sort of thing?
I have a manager who's been with me for a long time. He was actually the drummer in my first band, and he has a couple employees, and they basically do all the work of being a label, and if there's sort of licensing deals and all that kind of stuff, they negotiate that, and
sure.
That's but I mean, once again, it's like getting a manager as a young artist. I mean, that's impossible now too.
I know. And one of the things that I was really curious about is the your I guess you could call it an alliance, United Musicians. Can you tell me a little more about that?
That doesn't really exist anymore.
Oh,
I think
really?
That was an idea that when more than 10 years ago, about 10 years ago, when I first was able to leave the major label system, and label, put my own records out, I wanted to kind of extend that help to other people and
sure.
Other artists, and we had a distribution deal, and so we had some resources that we could share with other people, but I think that the system just changed so rapidly that I mean,
sure.
record stores closed, and so having distribution doesn't really matter, and so it kind of just fell of its own weight.
Okay, so let's see. Beyond the April tour, let's see. And you're going to be on World Cafe too. That's really exciting.
Yeah.
That's really exciting.
Good show.
So, beyond the April tour, what are some of your aspirations and goals for the rest of 2011?
Well, I had been, somebody suggested a long time ago that brought up the idea of turning one of my records, The Forgotten Arm, into a musical.
Ooh.
So I've been writing with my producer Paul, writing new songs with the idea of turning that into a musical, and it's a very long process. We have to find a writer to write the dialogue.
Sure.
Book. But I'm doing that, and then somebody else asked the two of us to write music for another musical. So, and we haven't started that, but that's something that's kind of in the future. And I'm writing songs for new records, so I got a bunch of stuff to do.
Wow.
But it's always good to just do the next thing in front of you, whatever.
Oh yeah.
Whatever you're good at.
Well, it sounds like a blast.
Super fun. It's actually one of those things I never thought I would find myself doing, but writing songs for a musical is so hilariously fun. Because it's you don't have to worry about being in any kind of, you don't have to worry about being cool, quite frankly.
Right.
It's sort of deliciously uncool.
Right. Well, and the song format and all that stuff is much more flexible, I would think.
Yeah, totally.
That's great. Okay. Well, very, very, very cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And good luck in your career.
Oh, thank you very much. And I'll keep John in my thoughts, and I hope he gets better, continues to recover.
He's a tough guy.
Yeah. Well, he must be. That's amazing.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, good luck on your tour and with the musical stuff.
Great. Thanks so much, Jennifer.
Thank you, Aimee. You have a good evening.
You too.
Bye. That was Aimee Mann.